Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick thought while I was here, or while I'm here, basically sitting with a gold list out here in my, terrace, such as it is. What do you do when you get to D11, which is the end of the gold book? So you might be down at only, 3%, 2% of the original material, the original head list that you wrote back in the beginning of your bronze book. And you've come this far, but on a very big project that might still be quite a few hundred words on a really big project. So, let's say you've done something with 20,000 words in it, you might still be left with 200 or 300 words at the end of the road, at the end of the journey. So what do you do? Oh, look, I've got my dirty washing out. Well, there's a number of things you can do. You can print them out on things like mouse mats. You can get these companies that print you things like that you design yourself, like mugs or T-shirts or mouse mats or whatever else there might be. These days they're doing it on face masks even. I've got Psalm 91 on a face mask. It's very nice, and only the first, I think, 8 verses or something, not the whole psalm. But one of the things you can do is obviously you can do that, and then you have these words around you, and you maybe hope that way they'll go into your mind a bit. But I think one of the things which you can also do once you get to the end of that, the whole gold book project. People have said, well, why not carry on with like a platinum book, as it were, the theoretical platinum book, one stage beyond gold, platinum being usually higher in price than gold. I haven't looked at the prices of platinum recently, I don't know, but in theory usually more expensive, more dear than gold. So why not do a platinum book? Well, it's going to be so small that it's going to be a bit of a waste of a book, although I suppose you could use one of those little, really nicely made books that you get with handmade paper and all that stuff, and make a platinum book if you like. But really, you've already 12 times, those are items you've written out 12 times, and that really ought to be enough if it's going to work that way for you. These are probably the things which are a little bit hard to, your own brain doesn't really like those words in a sense, yeah? So so see a slight bit of annoyance in the background there. So the idea that I had instead would be to you understand why I don't do that many films, yeah? Really, because this is the way life is the whole time. If you have autistic children and you have life like this is the whole time. So you don't get peace to do decent films that you can take a thought from beginning to end. That's why I write these days more than I record. But basically the other thing you can do is you can take out that material that you did at the beginning that you put into the head list. And the idea of the head list is that you put, or one of the ideas of the head list is that you put everything in from the materials that you're going to want, and therefore don't need to carry around the materials with you when you are doing your distillations, whether you're doing a plan or whether you're doing the actual rewrite. You don't need that with you. You don't need your materials with you. Well, if you've done it that way, you may occasionally want to look something up if you're not sure you wrote it out correctly. But other than that, so I'm assuming that unless it's a library book that you actually own the materials, that you've got them somewhere. If it's a library book, well, you presumably can get it out again. But if it's a library book, then don't do what I'm about to suggest, because what I'm about to suggest is a method whereby you take a highlighter pen, maybe yellow to represent the fact that it's your gold, and just highlight just those items which are there in D12, or even maybe your theoretical D13, the theoretical platinum. After a bit of, if you see that you really do know something, as you're doing it, you can leave it out again. But just to highlight in the material so that you see 3 things then you get from this. First of all, you see how much you've really learned, and how much of the materials have stuck and very little of it is left that didn't stick. You may also find that some things leaked along the way, because as you know, this method is an approximation to Ebbinghouse's theories on memory. It's an approximation to the way your memory works, the forgetting curve, yes? So instead of a curve that goes like in a nice logarithmic line, you've got 2 points on the graph, and the junction of them is at the 2 weak point. And then it's assumed flat after that, and it's not really flat. It's very shallow, but it's not really flat. And so therefore you may well find that you've forgotten some things. Of course, the more important ones will have come back again, and you may even have them in the goal list more than once. But most, in the main, there could be something in there that you didn't really want to forget, but you have forgotten it. You thought you'd remembered it, which is why you distilled it out. But when you go back to your materials, you can look at that bit as a little bit of a checklist. So it's a final rereading of the material. So you see things in context. You see the positive thing of how much of it you have learned now, and how little of it is new, and it looks maybe like an old friend, even though you didn't see it after so many times. Maybe it looks a bit unusual. You know all the stuff, but you forgot the format because you're thinking of it in the goal list format. And you think, well, why would I ever have done this? This is all obvious. Sometimes I have that kind of feeling if I do this. I don't remember the layout, but I remember all the stuff, even though I didn't know it when I first came to it. But then the final thing that might happen is that because you see it in that context where you originally saw it, it might help you just push it that little way further into the memory. Just the highlighting there just would do that. Some people can memorize by highlighting books, but I don't think it's a very good thing. But it is something you can come back to, because you're getting, in this context of D12 or post D12, you're getting those 3 benefits. You're getting the 3. You're getting the checklist on the material, checking as you read and find these items if there's anything there that was leaked out of your long-term memory, and then you can refresh that. You can get the positive reinforcement of seeing how much of it you have learned, and you'll be positively surprised. And then the third item is just to give it that little flick to get into those synapses by doing something different, having done the rewrite 12 times and it's still not really worked. So this is obviously a small minority of material, but maybe that's something which can be helpful to those in that bracket that have gone as far as the gold level, the gold booking and gold list method. So hopefully you enjoyed that idea. And now let's get back to our learning.